What are those? Angel, you passed out during the session.
I didn't do it because I didn't watch. I know.
제가 했어요. 할 수 있을 것 같은데. 피 있어 봐. 피안 나나니까 수도에 나가라고. 했는데.
Really? Up there?
자연스러운데. 써봐서 못 봤던데. 물을 빼야 되면 나 이거 하고 있는데 어디에 나도 메시지 치우시는 거.
Oh God! I want to see.
Oh God!
It's in your bio. Hey, Melody, send it to me.
God, Lord, man.
Winning Canton. You know who sings the song? You know who sings the song?
Yeah.
Andy Kim.
Actually, I do.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, is it like the
Andy Kim.
Yeah, well, really?
It's the '60s white Andy Kim, but it's like I can still see you singing the song. Sure you have it, Andy Kim. All right, so the next 60 seconds will give you time to go to our new grade 12 standard submission form. But always put the same way, the same business, last name, comma, first name. Cannot change. It's got to be the same every time. Copy your interaction with your second Spiegelman New Yorker cover and submit them. Then in a couple of seconds after that submission, one of you will give us a proper analysis of your second text, maybe the first text. Tamika, we did choose you the other day and you weren't here, so maybe you get to go. Right? That's only fair. The wheel decided.
Well,
Don't be a martyr.
that's my coffee.
I know.
I don't know what it means.
All right. Have a look at the screen while you can multitask. I know you can. Then we will see a fantastic presentation by Jean the Dancing Machine and Grace Kang, dealing with gender-specific language in 1.0. Nice. We will maybe take a couple of minutes. We shouldn't need more than a couple of minutes with our number 3. We'll finish that prior knowledge presentation, and we'll go over a couple of those. Hands?
It's like the whole thing. Like
You got to copy and paste the whole thing. Got it. Here's the thing: I told you to put it in your browser. And it works. I just point everybody. My eyes are crossed. I do that when I direct the crowd. The SharePoint links don't work so well. You got to copy and paste all this stuff. You'll notice is the hyperlink will stop about 3/4 of the way, and for whatever reason, leave off the extension. I don't know. Then number 4, we will begin a documentary. We'll talk a bit about what documentaries do, and we'll look at a couple of learning outcomes from part 2. Some of the topics associated, which we could potentially associate with that, and we'll talk about that. We'll watch it. It's super fun. It's lighthearted. Trafficking.
I was gonna say it's not.
I didn't put the proper title up there because it's just like, oh God, what is that? It's not. It's really, it's horribly sad. Like most things we do. Homework, go ahead and write that thing down. If you don't remember, because it's been a couple of months, HTRLLAP, how to read literature like a professor. You need to interact, not just read, interact with chapter 11, more than it's going to hurt you concerning violence. All right, sure. Are you in the file section of our group? No. Apparently not. Thank you. But if you were to go into your Outlook, click on our group, then click on file, then click on 1minute.0. I know it's annoying. That's why I need to start setting some links. If you're using Chrome, after you've been on a document maybe twice, actually quite intelligent. It picks up on what you want to do. Sometimes just hit Command-T and type the title of a document. It'll open up. Might be quicker. All right. Let's see who are. Everybody got a quiz the other day? A grade? Some of those are pretty good. Have you been told that soon you will have access to the school's gradebook? You have. Good. Who told you that?
Wow.
You just raised your hand.
You want us to submit it on the SharePoint?
I'm confused.
It's
It's the same thing.
I used to Google, and then that's a Google Docs.
Yeah, we're not using that one anymore. Sorry. I'd love to. It's just not dependable enough. Yeah, even with the VPNs, I don't know. I mean, if you have a VPN, it's fine. They told you can't use them? Told you not to use them, or you can? Yeah. Well, that's why. There you go. Another reason not to. But I mean, if it works, then we shouldn't have to, for the most part. Here we go. Lost the wrong class. June. What? I spelled all the people's names wrong. Do you see your name? I'm pretty sure it's not your name, is it? Tacky Shan? Is that really how you spell that? Oh. That'd be really awesome for your jersey. Andrew, could you be so kind as to switch seats with Maher during her presentation? Maher, which of those Spiegelman covers are you going to address today?
The Valentine's Day one.
The one we've already done? Kissing one? I guess. All right. So yeah, we didn't talk about that. Okay, cool. Thanks. Now, before we get into this, which will give my hair a couple seconds to go ahead and focus, we should get a couple things out of this. Pay attention. Yes, Do take notes on the awesome things that Maher is going to say. But think about what this should do in terms of what she's going to give us real quick. Two things. When we look at non-text based text, it is your first exam. You have a comparative essay. You get two options. Option A will have two texts. Option B will have two texts. One of those four texts will be something comparable to this, which will not have a whole lot of words. It could be an advert. It could be all sorts of things, some sort of political campaign, some sort of propaganda. And that's what this is. This one essentially has no text. I'm asking her to give an analytical presentation. She could go about this two ways, and they're both fine. She could do some sort of combination of the two. Last period, Soyum gave us, which was essentially a commentary. Do you want to do your thesis? So there's a commentary thesis involved. It can sound a lot like a commentary. And so when we listen to this, think about one, her thesis, and two, just the sort of structural flow of it. Does she do it justice? Does she, the bits and pieces which she itemizes in her commentary, do we hear them again? Do they really dictate the rest of her analysis? Or does she just throw them out there to sort of, I've got a commentary, and they don't sort of serve as the basis of this analysis? So she says, this is the big idea. How many times does she sort of reiterate that big idea? How many times does she explicitly say that big idea more than once? Secondly, how does she go about looking at a text which looks a lot like this guy? She's going to give us some prior knowledge. Our keyword, which we've added to the rubric, just in terms of us doing formative and summative pieces, is that pertinent author background. If she's going to mention Spiegelman, what would be applicable here? And what might just be, man, you only got 12 minutes on this thing in terms of your commentary. Why are you kind of wasting time on this? You're not getting any points. Can the author background kind of give you points? And it can, especially with this one right here. So, Maher, whenever you're ready, go right ahead.
So this was released on Valentine's Day, and it was done by a cartoonist, Art Spiegelman, who is a cartoonist, editor, and comics advocate. And basically, Art utilizes juxtaposition, illusion, and irony to show a Jewish man and West Indian woman kissing in order to portray the controversy caused by the Crown High riots.
Crown Heights?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so this was an allusion to something that happened in 1991, where there was racial tension between both the groups, which are Jews and West Indians. And
It's the first time I've heard that. Okay.
And because it led to a murder of a Jewish student in the States. And this image juxtaposes, contains juxtaposition because of the physicality, like the hair and the difference in both the men and the woman's hair color and skin. And they're also, it is also ironic because they're kissing at a time where there's a lot of tension between both the groups.
Okay. What? All right.
Yeah, because the other ones, like...
Excuses, Maher. There's some good stuff here. Maybe we can help you out in terms of all of us together. Can you read your thesis again?
Art utilizes
All right. What are you, like, in a first-name basis?
Spiegelman.
Besties?
Utilizes juxtaposition, illusion, and irony to show a Jewish man and a West Indian woman kissing in order to portray the controversy caused by the Crown High riots.
Okay. Heights. Crown Heights. Okay. So she did mention all those again in her analysis. She could have done a lot more with that juxtaposition. Could have done a lot more with irony as well. It's ironic on multiple levels, right? Can you go over that again? One, I think you said because of they represent the two groups of people who are in this sort of cultural or ethnic strife.
Yeah.
Is there more irony there? Anybody else with the additional
Physically,
irony?
like physically.
Go ahead, Anderson, your hand popped up real quick.
I have a question, like, is the context, right? She said that it's portraying a West Indian woman, but the context, right, it's like an African, not even.
That's what I was saying. If you look closely into that, where did you find that West Indian business?
Idiot.
All right, who do you trust? More than anything. African American, I guarantee you, yes, there is some West Indian people going on there.
It's not African, it's South American.
What? I don't think it was
That's
South.
definitely not South
Because
America.
that doesn't look South American.
So in that neighborhood, yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a large Jamaican population. I think that's what that specifically is. I think they might say West Indian because there could be some non-Jamaicans in there as well. So yeah, we know New York as being a multi-ethnic metropolis. What else is ironic beyond the fact that these are two groups involved in the riot? Did you discuss, and maybe you did, the subject matter in terms of the layout and what layout? Yes, but the cover of New Yorker during Valentine's Day. Did you talk about that being ironic?
Yeah.
And it is, but right, the stimulus for that is coming from something which is essentially the antithesis of love. It's hate. Yeah, riots, racial tension, just a nice way of saying racial hate. Sure. So yeah, that really is the irony. Also, the people involved, they were Orthodox Jews. I think we would want to talk about putting this in, especially this course, put this into a cultural context of historical, chronological context. So this is probably a couple of years, year and a half, 2 years after the riot itself.
Yeah.
For us, interracial relationships are not such a big deal. In the 90s, they kind of still were. Up until prominent film directors have movies called Jungle Fever. You know that one? Did you see that? Jungle Fever. It's like, if you're of a certain age, you might even still use that term. Ooh, Jungle Fever. And you stop yourself saying, wait, if you don't know that movie, that's like complete a jerk. You know, it's like, what a racist. God. Basically, a white lady. Denzel Washington. Racial or interracial relationships were not that common. And these two characters, especially the Orthodox, I don't think an Orthodox Jew could go out or have some kind of potential marriage or relationship with a non-Orthodox Jew. So that's how ironic that is. Much less someone who's not Jewish, much less someone of a different race. All of that would just be unheard of and not permissible. Her physicality is the sort of antithesis. She's not Ethiopian, which you might be like, well, maybe she's Jewish because Ethiopian Jews exist. No, she's West Indian. She is wearing something which is, not anything less than feminine, but it certainly isn't a conservative habit, much like he is wearing. Cool. You mentioned illusion, so you got the riot thing in there. And you also mentioned the juxtaposition. And all that irony / juxtaposition. What about the physicality? What about their embrace? If you take this out of context and don't know anything, you might be like, oh, he's a hipster and he has a black girlfriend. Which that makes sense because he's a hipster, right? He's got the cool beard. He's dressed like it's the 19th century. He probably makes his own cheese. Refuses to, use public transportation. Right? Made a sled with his dog, organic. Sure. So if I think, okay, it's Valentine's Day, this is progressive, I get it. No problem. Does the image suggest love? Removing all the other cultural context, prior knowledge, illusion, you understand. does, doesn't it? I think we'd all agree that they both into it, right? So if this was anything, especially with that paper 1 exam, you'd want to talk about the physical aspects. So yeah, the eyes are closed, the hands, they're both kind of equally placed on both sides. He isn't like taking her, she's not leaned back and being submissive. It seems to be a level of equality, which somehow, if we take those bad words out of the romantic context, it's like, well, who's to blame? Both sides, right? So maybe both sides are equally responsible for the riots. So it's really cool how he's juxtaposed and intertwined these two concepts very fluidly. We got the red. We got anybody write anything about the little squiggly border is reminiscent of like a kid's Valentine's Day card. We actually call those Valentines. Anybody ever in a class in Earthshot Elementary School where you walked around and gave each other little cards on Valentine's Day? With those little heart-shaped candies? And then Archer got one from a girl and it had a train on it. It said, I choose you. And he got all excited. and he thought, you choose me. That's The Simpsons. That's Ralph Wiggum. Fell in love with Lisa. Choo. Google choo. It'll pop up. All right. Anything else we want to say about this? It's also like that cultural melting pot, man. It's 1993. This isn't, West Side Story. People still don't get along. And these two groups have been in there since essentially modern New York's inception. And so there still is tension. We see that now. In all sincerity, the United States is probably, in terms of your opportunity, we all know that's what defines the States in terms of American culture. Their American culture is based on opportunity and making something of yourself. In that sense, it is quite race friendly. People cease to be racist when you have money. But you also see a lot of things popping up in the last year in terms of American culture. There's a lot of racial tension, which has just sort of manifested itself in the last year and a half. And this is a good 12 years ago. So there's some irony in that as well. Did she talk about the author's background at all? I don't think that's even really relevant, him being Jewish, because he's like the least orthodox thing. He's not even a practicing Jew, if I'm not mistaken. His wife having been, or at this point in time, serving it, I think she's the creative director of The New Yorker, might be interesting to throw out there. And he produced, how many of these? Maybe look this one up. How many New Yorker covers are actually made by Spiegelman? Like 20. And there were a number that I don't know what the proper word choice is. They were either not picked up or sort of refuted. Like, we're not going to use that because I don't, someone in the other class said controversial, which I guess that's what it was. But did anybody talk about put the texts into a larger context? Did you discuss with yours what the New Yorker is and what it's supposed to do? That's big. If this was the cover of alternative Orthodox Jew dating quarterly, it makes sense. Is this a liberal or conservative publication? Scott, are you going to scream liberal because they got Spiegelman doing it? You assume it's not conservative. And it is the New Yorker, and the fact that it's the New Yorker, it is a national publication, technically international in terms of its readership. But it's eponymously related to the seed, if you will, of where this riot took place. Was it in the Bronx? Where's Crown Heights? Is that where? It's not in Manhattan. It's in Brooklyn. All right. So it's one of the 5 boroughs, Brooklyn. Now, if this was 2015 and that was the cover and it was Brooklyn, it's definitely hipster stuff. Just 2. Maybe watch a show called Portlandia? I thought you'd say yes. Yeah, it's on Netflix. You got Netflix?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Watch it. Pretty funny.
It's like a new show. It's like 2 seasons.
It's just 2 seasons.
Yeah.
A lot of the actors you'll recognize in there, but it's good. All right, Meher. I'll accept that. Anything else we want to add about Meher as a human being? What she gave us today in terms of content or performance? Are we okay with that organization? It was too short to even really grade an organization, to be honest with you. That's fine, I guess. Okay. Now, second part is, if you took notes on that and paid attention, what could you do with that? This thing's right. There's a series here. Series of texts are great for an FOA, a non-creative FOA. There could be a pattern in 3 of these things that you're going to extract. Some sort of physical representation of X in Art Spiegelman's New Yorker covers. So it could just be expository. You're going to show us these slides. You're going to focus on a certain specific aspect of probably part 1. Go and look at that and see how that works in terms of learning outcomes and topics. You might find something in part 2 in terms of cultural bias, something of that nature. In terms of or I should say written task 2, the prescribed question says social group. One of the 2 examples in the guide the AI gives us are social groups. We got the 2 social groups right here. I mean, you might realize or feel that, no, I don't think I can get the word count out of this. But I'll say it again, on a personal level, just based on what you guys produce, I think the language texts are very nice for the critical analysis essay. And the lit works are really good for the whole perspective thing in terms of the creative written task 1. I had another person go back to Joseph Conrad over the summer. It was good, but it was a lot of work. It's a lot of work to take a novel and pull out the social group thing. It's big. It was. I feel it was successful. But just knowing that person, I guarantee if they put the same effort into this, it might have been a more effective in terms of points, whatever that means. I mean, she worked really hard on it, and I liked it. If we're going to submit it, we still got to go back to it again. Just got some stuff we need to fix. So think about that. So these guys are ripe. A couple of you, Chris already put one of these on here. Those of you on that list, Davika's on that list. Anderson will show where that list is. It's in our group business. There's a thing called 2015, 2016 text, and Davika's like number 2 on the list. So she has to take one of our current texts and shove it in there whenever it's possible. We're going to look at a new text today, so you might put that in there. We're just going to keep that running list of checks so we know when assessment time comes around, or what could I look at? Or how could I bring a text in which is matched with something we've done? We'll have a long list of the something we've done. Yeah. It's you, buddy. No, I don't. I was just clicking. There's nothing to do. I was just spinning for you. Sometimes I just like that noise. All right, so woman at point 0, gender-specific language. Same thing. Gender-specific language is going to help us. Well, one, this part 3 text is one of your responsibilities for the final. 25% of your final grade, paper 1. Sorry, paper 2. The last class we had a presentation. It was fairly decent. And a couple of things they gave us were essentially quotes. And I like those. Because what's going to happen is, think about this, it's big. We're going to look at a lot of questions that you might get. Because the exam, paper 2, is a lot like the written task 2. You'll be in there, today's paper 2, English, have your exam, you open it up, there's some French and Spanish thing, what is that? You move on, and it'll have choose one of the following 6 questions. And the top says, based on at least 2 of the text you've written in your HL class for part 3, match it up with one of those questions. So going into the exam, we'll talk about, a question might be this, the question might be that. Hopefully you'll get one of these questions and you will have some sort of automatic response, if you will, to types of questions. But most of you be like, all right, we read this, we read this, we read this. I'm really going to concentrate my preparation time on these 2 texts and hope that the questions on that exam will readily match up. And that's why we picked those texts. It's like Women at Point Zero is just right for all sorts of stuff. Gender, cultural context. It was read by a different type of cultural person. It was written this and that. So it works really, really well. And so does Mouse. And so does the things they carry. But if we get some stuff today, and I would suggest that I'm going to focus on text A and text B, go into that exam with some sort of memorized quotes. It's smart. You can paraphrase and refer to the text. You have to all day long. He says something like, that's fine. But if you can actually have this is a quintessential quote, good. And there are some very quintessential quotes, and especially the interaction between the doctor and Firdaus at the beginning, and more so at the end. Are you guys ready? You just give us the presentation of your life? Absolutely.
Here. Want us to stand up?
Why don't you sit over here? Why don't you switch for those 2?
You made it.
What?
You made it. What is that?
It's exactly the
Really?
Yeah.
I want to play.
Pleasure.
My hair didn't get it.
Yeah.
Who am I, your slide boy?
Wait, but it's cleaner your computer. Do you just want to plug it online?
I'll be your slide boy.
Okay. So gender-specific language is a language basically that implies, it's not directly written, but it kind of implies and connotates how males have more authority over females. And again, it's not clearly stated, but it's implied through its word language. So, next slide.
Oh, slide boy. Sorry, I'm not a good slide boy today. Wait, are there some?
Okay.
Are we done with this? See?
Okay.
So oftentimes when people speak something that woman does for men, or what men would want from women, would be considered normal and nothing of ascendancy that people would consider, but something of that people should be requesting.
That was awesome.
Something that is.
I know exactly what you're saying. It
natural
just seems like you're being really really concerned about upsetting somebody, but
Stop being such a sissy.
Something that's considered natural in society.
Okay.
Some would be vague, but I got you.
slide board.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Blake.
So this is the guidelines on gender neutral language that the UNESCO has provided.
Okay.
UNESCO school.
UNESCO.
So, for example, if you look at the gender specific language, this woman's husband, that's her part-time. They corrected it to the husband says he lets with a punctuation his wife work part-time, and because they think that letting someone do their work is something that they can do when they're in authority. And if you look at the other example, John and Mary both have full-time jobs. He helps her with the housework. It seems like the man, optional for him to do the housework, and so he can help the work, not do the work, not share the housework.
Kind of picky here, isn't it? I mean, he's helping her do the housework. You should really stop complaining. If anything, he's the emasculated one here. I mean, Sean.
Yeah, it can be get picky, so like these scientists often neglect their wives and children, and you know, if you say wives and children, it sounds like they're sort of values that's important. So
Sounds like research scientists are only men.
yeah, so you should correct it to neglect their families, which also can be men or women.
Or
So
husband.
all this kind of in effect implies the stereotype that's rooted in a family relationship, which shows
Okay.
how
Dynamics.
Yeah.
Cool. Slide boy.
So, gender-specific language is apparently very prevalent in the book Women at Zero. Birdhouse News Story, in her Arab background, means many authoritative men in the story, and so oftentimes the men would oppress her, and in those processes, men would use language that shows ascendancy and is gender-specific.
Dawson's words and mental connection.
So we have some examples here. Skillful lines pencil around my eyes into that just the right combination of passion and projection favored by the wives of men in high position authority. Well, she could have just said women of high authority or women of high class, but instead she said wives of men in the high positions of authority, which implies women are people that belong to men, and someone, even if they're in high class, they have to be expressed as someone below men.
Okay.
And expressed in comparison with men. And also in the second example, we thinking of taking a woman from the local family. Here we can see objectification of women. It is something that you can say like taking a bottle, taking a phone. You can't think of taking a woman or taking a person very easily. So taking a woman is something that you can say to a person when you're
When you consider them below it,
you're putting
as if you're saying referring to a slave or something.
Okay.
You're saying, if he has the authority over it, then I can take the person.
you're putting less value on it.
An object.
Yeah.
Objectification. And that verb to take has other connotations as well.
And taking her is the same thing.
Yeah, there's in certain languages they have an additional verb for taking someone somewhere, so people don't snicker when you use the other one. Like to take your bag, you can't use that with people because it always, unfortunately, implies has a sexual implication.
And she writes that
first one in page 47, that's when Fergus was beaten by her first husband and goes back to her uncle's house. And when they were having a conversation, the uncle's wife tells her that women are not supposed to complain about her husband and her duty is perfect obedience. It shows that, like, and this line is actually spoken by a female, like uncle's wife. And the fact that female is considering herself as, like, female is accepting the fact that, oh, I'm okay to be beaten because I'm below the social status, kind of shows how male supremacy is deeply rooted in the culture. And the female themselves are not aware of, they kind of, they're okay, like they're fine with it.
So you think of the word obedience, it work in your like relationships, father and child, or
Master, like, say,
yeah, masters.
Yep, exactly.
Not in relationships with
lovers.
husband,
Yeah.
where they should be equally considered.
And the next one is when Fergus describes the family, that her father, her father would beat her mother when male child died, but like when female kids died, he would just normally beat her, dinner, and like sleep. So this again shows how female children, they're like genderly discriminated since they're born, like as soon as they're born, and there's like gender preference over male over female.
Mhm.
And the next one, she uses some like strong words such as
My bad.
such as the man forces them down to the lowest level and punish them for falling so low, bind them in marriage and chastise them with a service for life or insults or blows. So the words I've highlighted in red, they're all kind of like strong and they have a negative connotation of how males they just treat women as if it's their like possession and stuff. Yeah.
So yeah, we like as you read through this story,
I can. Guys are demanding.
you notice that beating the word beating is used so many times that it is something that would be considered even natural and normal for families and relationships.
Okay, does anybody have the PDF for this one? No? Yeah. No? Okay. I do. I'll look at it, see, just Command F, the word beat, see how often it pops up. Interesting.
And she continues by saying, yet I was not given to wasting anything. Like the word not given, it's written in passive voice, which suggests that she's acted upon by someone. And like even like wasting stuff, even like throwing stuff out is strictly limited by like males. Like while she's eating, so she does not have any choice over her own action. She's powerless.
Yeah, it's kind of suggests certain feelings of manhood and making the words for feelings. Although it's not written right here, but it suggests that someone is over you, someone has control over you. And the next example I read was kiss me, I surrendered my face and my body to his body. This story is very explicit, and surrender means we have given everything. You have sort of been very expensive.
Yep.
And
Good.
it gives an image of how men are like attacking her because surrender it kind of relates to a word more, like as if they were fighting and women just gave her her own body and it signifies her lifeless and powerless. And in page 58, she says, am I really of any value? I cannot ask anything from men. So here she's even doubtful of her own presence, that she's unaware of the fact that she actually is a human being with a right and right to like choose and just like to be loved. And fact that she stopped thinking that, oh, do I really have a value as a human? Shows that she's been oppressed, right? And the next one is pretty much repetitive, but and myself became really mind with them as a really Christian. Again, shows how she was she'd been subjected to various degrees of physical and emotional like abuses from the male that she never came to realize how she actually has power to make her own choices.
Which was example when she was, okay,
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Moving right along. No, not by no means, but all pertinent.
So, this very specific language shows how much the society has accepted the idea of supremacy of men, how well it has been. It shows the depth of how the society thinks of men, and especially in the Arab society.
Arab, yes.
Where the Islamic society where men are valued is really explicitly reflected. This also connects to the nature of power. As you can see, Firdaus was impressed by her husband and even by people on the streets. Friends, like basically everything that she has. And it shows that even in the language of people in Arab society have show the relationship of men and women and how one has more power over the other. So I think this supports this theme very well, and also the theme of captivity where Firdaus could not escape from men. She had to live under pressure all the time, being under her uncle, her parents, her husband. Throughout her life, she couldn't escape from men, and this is even explicitly shown in her languages, where men have control.
Cool. Sure.
Yes.
That's it, right? I'll play this in the bus all the time. My wife is like going, she's like, she hates it. All right. Good. Thorough. You stay there. I like that. You good with that? Give you a couple of minutes to finalize that prior knowledge thing. We'll go over a few of those. I was trying to find Flower Boys. It's really catchy. It's awesome. It's on my top 5 list for this semester. Who are you working with?
He's working with us. I told him.
But it's okay because it's all online. You can work. Oh, so you might need a computer.
I should go after you. It's like 3 different types. University, 40 minutes. It's not active. But like my
Okay.
I want to see.
Arden, can I move your slide after ours? Because the order is after. Move it. Did everyone sleep?
So wait, so that's 6. Oh, right.
Oh, classic Hante. We just got that. What'd you just say? Like everything died down. You pulled out a Hanteism right there at the last second. Are you working on your presentation?
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. You're good. You're good.
No.
I don't know what the context was today, but somebody saw something or something like get Han to read it. I don't know what it was, but I think what it was, they were too embarrassed to say it. It's like.
So because of that one. British. Oh, presenting here. Oh, good. Executive artist. They're just like, I would get to